Hello and welcome. Episode 20 of Eagles Don't Hunt Flies, the show all about the life and career of Jon Moxley, right here on the Poison Rana Network. And I'm your host, Martin Bushby. And joining me, as always, is if you're watching on the live stream we're doing on YouTube, is the man himself, Mr. Brandon from New Jersey. Brandon, how's it going, mate, this month? You're on mute, Brandon. I swear you did that on purpose.
I did. It's so good to be here, man. Another month. We're still standing. I'm still standing. My property's still standing from the mini storm that rolled in like an hour and a half ago. But it's good to be here.
Wow, a mini storm. Oh, yeah, you were messaging me yesterday while you were driving on the fucking New Jersey Turnpike. Don't text and drive, kids. That is a very bad thing to do. You were in the middle of a monsoon or something.
It's been raining cats and dogs like all week. And then like today, the capstone was I have the Ring app on my phone and whatever. Like, gotta be a proper landowner and protect your land, right? Especially in this day and age, right?
Yep.
Due to these unsettling times, where people could, come on your land and take it away from you, like it's 1863 or something like that. Anyway,
sure,
I got an alert. And it said that there was like a tornado rewarded, and then all of a sudden, I got another alert saying that we're using the backup battery. I was like, oh man, I'm out of power. Let me text Martin, tell him my situation, because I was about to car cast this bitch, like, because I'm excited for the guests we have that is gonna join us in a few, because that's how pumped I was. I was that daggum determined to make it on this episode, and lo and behold, luck be a lady tonight for me. As soon as I walked through the door, my power was restored, and then I text you back, and I was like, let's scuttlebutt it, and we're back to battle stations fully activated. So here I am.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. I'm glad you've survived the torrential rain and the monsoon, and you survived driving on the New Jersey Turnpike.
Wait, yo! So the next town over, I turned on the news, and they got blitzed, man. And
oh my God.
This town, I guess there was like I guess the tornado rolled through there or something like that, a mini tornado. This town is the Isle of Ill Repute. A lot of sinning going on there, a lot of prostitution and drug dealing, a lot of meth and ketamine and fentanyl. High district of that area. So maybe it was meant to be for them.
Washing away the sins.
Like Moses parting the Red Sea.
Right.
The purge was imminent for that town, but we're here. We're still here. I don't want to wish ill will, but I don't know. Someone did try to rob me in that town a couple years back, but we're here now.
But you never want to hold a grudge, just in case.
Nah, never that.
Right? Never.
Peace be with you and always with you. Right.
Yeah. But before, obviously, you said we've got a special guest on with us this week. But before we get into all that, we've got to say a huge congrats to Mr. Dickie Bird and Mrs. Dickie Bird on the birth of their new child. All the best, mate. I hope things are going well for you guys. 2 kids in the house now. Well, I say house. He lives on a gigantic ranch, doesn't he? But we miss you, Dickie, and we hope all's going well with with the birth of your new child and everything.
Halfway to JP, man. He's two down and 17 more to go, man. JP's like a modern day Morbid or something with all the kids he has. God bless, man. I wonder if he's into soaking. Anywho,
he's Irish Catholic, isn't he? Always got big families. But also, Brandon, before you get us any more trouble, shout out to John Cena for years doing the Lord's work, watching all the wrestling that you don't want to with Shot in the Dark, but sadly calling it a day with that show. He's got the big promotion at work, and it means he hasn't got time to do it anymore. But shout out Cena for doing that work for all those years. So you've now got to watch all the wrestling yourselves, you lazy bastards. Cena's not going to be doing it for you anymore.
He'll still be around for What Up though, and
that'll
other
be,
contributions
that'll
to
be.
like. I mean, I used to tell him, I tell him that I like Shot in the Dark. It's an asset, like all the shit that you don't want to watch, and he watched it for you, and he told what was going on, and I told him that I would like listen to it in blocks at work and stuff like that. So the show will be missed, but he is he's on the bigger and better things. So respect.
Yep, exactly. All the best to
I couldn't
John
watch
Cena.
all that
What a
shit,
guy.
man. That's a lot of fucking wrestling, dude.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
know, exactly.
I like wrestling, but man, that dude, he's got an appetite for the sport of theatrical grappling and stuff like that, man. Respect, though. Respect. Oh, I mean, we'll get to it, but man, there's some wrestling out there it makes you want to question your sanity or your life. Or what are you doing with it? But
Yep.
I mean, that's
Most of
either
it's on a Monday night on Netflix.
or tonight, 3 hours of SmackDown, man. Come on, dude. There's a lot of stuff in 3 hours that you could do. I mean, I mean, I don't want to tell you what I could do in 3 hours, but you know,
yeah. Well, I'll cut you off there.
Right. But you know, respect to the grinders that are into it. Like, respect. I don't want to be a thief of joy for you, but you know, let's see there. All right, let's go. All right, pivot.
Yeah, because we are here this month to talk about the Shield against the Wyatts, a feud that's fondly remembered by everybody from 2014. But you know, couldn't just do it with just me and you, Brandon. You know, couldn't just do it ourselves. We've drafted in a very, very special guest because joining us now, it's one of the newsboys of post wrestling. It's the one, the only Jack Wannan. Jack, thanks for joining us this week, mate. Much appreciated, mate, for taking the time out.
I'm happy to be here. I appreciate the invite. First of all, I want to second the shout outs you guys did before. Shot in the Dark was one of those shows where it's like it filled a niche that just nobody else probably on the entire internet was filling. But yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that I got to jump in the time machine and watch some 2014 wrestling. Got to watch some wrestling from I think from when I was like in middle school. So.
Oh wow! Yeah, well, it's funny because I think you. I heard you on with Davey and that lot on the John Cena show that they do, and then I think I was listening to an old Up Next you were doing with Braden, and I was like, oh wow, Jack, it really is like the young. It was always Andrew Thompson's the youngest in charge, but I think like wow, like Jack's it might be taking that title now. Because I was like, wow, fucking hell, I feel like an old granddad listening to you on this.
It's my post wrestling Poison Rana party trick where when people start talking about things, I can just name drop. Oh, I wasn't born when that happened, or yeah. Oh, I was like in elementary school or something like that.
And let me tell you, man, post wrestling's like internship. Oh man, what a gateway to get into the business, man. Respect, John and Way, man. They got it going on with that stuff.
I'm a post wrestling next in line NIL.
Jack, I do want to apologize to you. Because I at one time online I called you Timu Eric Marcotte. I just want to say you're your own human, and I apologize. Respect, and you're a good sport, and I respect your work.
I'm actually thankful for that because I think that's what landed me the invite on the John Cena podcast on Poison Rana, because the idea was to get me and Eric in the same call to prove we're different people.
I was waiting for you guys to do a fusion dance like in Dragon Ball Z, and you guys come together and be like a
We'll make it happen eventually.
How did you originally get involved with Post then, Jax? I know you do a lot of the news with like Andrew and Neil and John and everybody, but how did you originally get involved with them?
Well, I was a long-time listener. Like I listened to the pod when I was in like high school because it was just one of those things where like I was getting into podcasts and I just searched like wrestling podcasts and found what was then live audio wrestling, and kept following along for years. And then just a few years ago, I just reached out and just sort of started talking to John about it, and I got a few opportunities, and it just kind of went from there.
Yeah, and the MMA, the UFC breakdowns are before the shows are always my favorite to listen to now. So with you and John and stuff like that. So respect, man. You're I don't know. I was gonna say you're not gonna be long for this place because you'll probably be doing bigger and better things, but you're an asset while you're here. So respect.
Thank you.
No, yeah, totally. I mean, I know from obviously being friends with Andrew, all the work that goes into the new stuff and that, and it's always like top quality work. And yeah, Post definitely like up there with the sort of like upper echelon of wrestling news sites and stuff. So yeah, top work from all you guys there.
Yeah. I don't want to disrespect the other people, but like, yeah, Post Wrestling's definitely assembled like a lot of talented contributors and just like the grassroots program, man. It's like,
and I appreciate that Brandon's a diligent listener, always listening for when a cuckoo clock goes off in the background of a podcast appearance or something goes wrong.
You have a legitimate cuckoo clock. That was the greatest thing ever, man.
Yeah, I'll show you. I can show you later. It's well, I'm in a different room now for obvious reasons, to avoid that incident again. But yeah, there's a cuckoo clock in the kitchen here.
That is so cool, dude. Respect.
And what sucks is when you do a podcast appearance at 11 p.m. and you forget to turn it off, it does 11 cuckoos, which lasts like more than a minute. So
I'm guessing this happened on a podcast appearance recently then.
Yeah, this happened on, I did a quick hit on the Raw review this week, and yeah, a cuckoo clock made a special appearance.
That's what Martin, that's when you asked on Blue Sky.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, I remember.
I didn't screen cap it, but because I didn't know if people would hear it or not. But like, you could definitely hear the cuckoo clock. It was pretty hilarious.
Well, something very unique. Yeah, not many people have got one of them these days, have they? But anyway, like I said, we are here to talk about the Shield against the Wyatts, episode 20. And like I said, it is a feud that's fondly remembered by fans. You know, as a lot of us will remember, WWE was pretty shit in 2014. But you know, there were a few bright sparks. You know, such as Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30, and then this. And before we get to you, Brandon, Jack, have you seen any of this before? Were you watching WWE at the time? Was this, you know, when did your sort of like fandom in WWE start?
Yeah, so I was definitely watching around this time, but for reasons that you kind of just alluded to there, I wasn't watching every single thing. I was kind of dipping in and out. Like, it was a period of time where it was really hard to just keep like a close focus on it just because of so many things being not too great. So to be honest with you, I don't know if I actually saw the matches that we were watching this week. I don't know if I saw those before, but I was watching around this time when I was familiar with like the product. I first started watching around 2009, and around 2014 I was definitely watching too.
Yeah, because it's an interesting one for me, as I remember, you know, the Elimination Chamber match being great. So I was a bit like, I wouldn't say nervous, a bit apprehensive to go back and watch it again for the first time since 2014, because I was like, well, was it actually good, or was it just something that was better than a lot of the other stuff that were being shoveled down our throats? But yeah, so it was interesting to go back and watch them. What about you, Brandon? Had you seen, obviously, Elimination Chamber, the Shield against Wyatts gets, you know, still a lot of praise from fans still to this day. Was it something you'd gone back and watched, any of this feud?
I mean, besides the homework that we had to do for this
homework.
I mean, yeah, that match is legendary. The Elimination Chamber match. I mean, probably one of the better WWE tag matches of that decade. Or is that a decade? 14.
Yep, decade. Yep.
It's in a decade. Yeah.
Of that era, yeah, it's probably one of the better matches that they've done for that era of the Fed. And I mean, these guys had so much great chemistry, all like the Wyatts and the Shield, and like it's just like it's like poetry in motion, no pun intended, to watch these guys work a style of tag match or tornado to trios match. Would you consider these trios matches, right?
Oh yeah, big time, yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, and WWE wasn't really into like trios and tag shit, like. They like now, like the tag. I think tag team wrestling in general is kind of like in the doldrums right now, right? Like I guess there's some good tag teams, but like it's just not like the emphasis is not really on that, and I think it's a misstep because like if you you have proper tag teams and the proper pushes that you would put to it, I think you can make magic happen.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I saw that over WrestleMania weekend. I was at that PWG, not sorry, PWG. I was at that PWR Dragon Gate show, and there was like a fucking absolutely one of the best tag matches I've ever seen in my life on, live in person on that one. So yeah, certainly a lot more to be said about tag team wrestling that's been seen on the, on the bigger stages.
And I don't want to go off the reservation, but I think this has been talked about like chapter and verse. But like, man, WrestleMania weekend used to be such a banger with all the indie shit, and like now that you got like WWE and AEW, they just basically capitulated they pillaged the freaking the indie scene. Everybody is either one side or the other, and you really can't get the super show matches that used to be on and popping like years gone by. It kind of sucks, but it's neither here nor there.
But there is still some, like I said, that show was fantastic. So there is still some good stuff out there. But yeah, it's not as prevalent as it used to be. But anyway, yeah, let's not go off onto a complete tangent about that.
I apologize. Like, I don't know when I'm gonna speak on this ever again. I'm gonna hit my spots. You know what I mean?
What was interesting though, going back to this time period though, was looking at the Wyatts and when they were like really hot and they'd only just come in, they'd only been in the company about 6-7 months at this point in early 2014. It was just like, oh wow, they were so over, and like, it was before like the Sister Abigail had been spammed to death, and it was seen as a finisher, and it's just interesting seeing all that. And obviously, sadly, two of the members are no longer with us. Sadly passed away, but just as a whole, Brandon, think about the Wyatts, think about that time period, and then we had the Bray sort of like single stuff, and then obviously later on we had the Firefly Funhouse stuff. What are your thoughts on the Wyatts as a whole? Because I was watching all this back and thinking like, oh, they were actually, it was really good, and the entrance was good, and they had something about them, but then it all just went a bit sort of goofy, for my liking.
I think I'm of two minds. Like, I mean, I think Bray and the crew, they had some great ideas, but then you're in the era of Vince and his creative control, and like, it's just like none of the stuff that you're probably pitching is gonna get like put on the on TV. I mean, some of the stuff was pretty good and stuff like that, but like, I don't know, like a lot of the stuff that they probably wanted to do was probably rejected, and I just think like it's just like bad timing. Like I don't even know if a proper Wyatt family would it get properly presented in this era, because like, I mean, you got the Wyatt Six now. What are they doing? They're in fucking catering. So yeah, I'm of two minds of it. I just think it was bad timing and the whole Vince factor.
What about you, Jack? When you sort of think back at this, obviously Brandon's just nailed there, we have got the Wyatt Six now, but that's like an afterthought. As far as like the main crew, the main three of them, and I suppose you could throw Braun in there as well. What was your thoughts about like the Wyatts and what the Wyatt legacy? Because there was a lot of stuff for me that felt like really hokey and sort of like out of place.
Yeah, I think that when I think back on the Wyatts, it's one of those things that just had so much more potential to it. There was a great gimmick. There was, this aura to them, and then like this rivalry that we're about to go through, there was some really good moments, but there were so many parts of it, like you said, that felt hokey, so many parts of it that felt not fully thought out, and there were some matches that just didn't really go well, when it comes to trying to really connect a story to a match. I think it's interesting, Brandon, you mentioned like, would it work now? I think the fact that Wyatt Six got dropped is really proof that even now, I don't know if it would get the proper treatment.
Yeah, I don't think it would at all. And like you said, it's just because it's been done now, hasn't it? So they just want to. I don't think they would bring characters like that back.
I think doing stuff that was beyond that sort of surface level of the character was something that they struggled a bit with.
Yeah, definitely. And like Brandon now, the Vince factor as well. Can you imagine sort of like the bullshit that he was coming out with and stuff, and like, you know, all the zany ideas and stuff he was having. But as
The red
far as
ring.
this, yeah, oh god,
The red
yeah,
cage.
yeah, and all that Finn Balor stuff. Oh yeah, that's not, let's not go too far down the rabbit hole on that one, because yeah, like I noted earlier, it was a really good act and for this first sort of like 6 months to a year. And you know the entrance was good, and obviously they were really over the crowd. But a bit of background before we do get into the match. Obviously, you know the Shield had been on the main roster for a little over a year at this point, debuting at Survivor Series 2012, and the Wyatts had debuted on Raw in July of 2013. With obviously Bray was, whereas the Shield was seen as like a unit of three people, Bray was clearly being shown as the leader of the group, and he was having singles matches against the likes of Kane, and then, you know, Harper and Rowan were having tag matches with a variety of opponents. And it's interesting because everyone sort of remembers, you know, early 2014, but actually their first meeting, the initial tease that they did of the Shield and the Wyatts, happened on a Raw in November 2013 in the UK of all places, where they had a bit of a stare down in the ring, but that all seemed to get put on the back burner. The Shield then feuded with Punk, which we discussed on a few episodes ago, and then the Wyatts had the whole thing with Daniel Bryan, with them trying to recruit him into the family, and
Daniel
Bryan had those furry boots. Like... You what? Sorry.
Daniel Bryan wearing overalls in the ring, like he's gonna milk a cow.
Yeah. I think he was still wearing those like Wyatt-inspired boots as well for a while after that.
The furry boots?
Yeah. Did he know? Was he not wearing them at WrestleMania 30? He'd obviously had them paid for, and he was like, "Oh well, I best get my money's worth out of these."
Was he wearing them when he was the hero of the planet gimmick, the heel run? Good question. I don't know. I don't remember.
I think that was a couple years later.
How was it? Like, but like, this is gonna be another tangent. I was like, I thought like Brody Lee was gonna have a breakout from the Wyatts. I mean, he even had his own theme, that swamp ass theme. I forget what it was. Remember his WWE theme? And like they pushed him for a little bit, and then they didn't go anywhere, and they put him back in the tag. I was like, oh man, give this guy a chance, let him fucking roll, dude. But anyway.
Yeah, there was a lot of wasted opportunities with him in WWE, weren't it? And that was what was so sad about AEW, and we discussed on the Jon Moxley against Brody Lee episode that, you know, he was finally getting an opportunity, and it was a shame that everything that had happened with that.
Jack, if he was a Winnipeg Jet, what position would Bray Wyatt be?
Oh my god. I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question.
Would he be an
It's okay. No one's expecting you to answer that question, Jack. It's okay. Just
you know, when Brandon said he was excited to have me on the podcast, I was a little nervous about that.
Yeah. As most people would be, yeah.
Oh, get ready, Jack.
So obviously it was put on the back burner, and they had already started teasing a Shield breakup by Royal Rumble 2014. Roman eliminated Ambrose and Rollins, and do we all remember that Rumble? That was like one of the worst ones ever, wasn't it? Batista getting booed. And yeah, everyone expecting Daniel Bryan, poor old Rey Mysterio coming out as the final entrant. Yeah, it's
was
wild.
That the one in Philly?
Possibly, yeah.
When The Rock tried to endorse Roman Reigns?
No, that was the year after.
Oh, okay.
Roman was getting cheered at this one in 2014. This was the one with Batista when he won it, and everyone was like booing the shit out of him because they wanted Daniel Bryan. So both teams were heels at this point, and it actually all properly kicked off between the two of them on the January 27th Raw of 2014. The Shield were taking on Daniel Bryan, John Cena, and Sheamus in an Elimination Chamber qualifier match. And the Shield lost by DQ after the Wyatts came down and interfered in the match. I think they beat Cena up, and the Shield got DQ'd, and this kickstarted the feud. I mean, I think it was sort of teasing that they were going to go with Bray and John Cena, but then they were like, oh, there's plenty of time till WrestleMania, so this is sort of like the route we're going to go down on then. And then we get a few Raws and SmackDowns. On SmackDown on the 31st of January, the Shield cut promo saying they don't know why the Wyatts got them DQ'd and they don't care, but they're happy to challenge them. And then after umming and ahhing, authority figure at the time, Triple H, comes out and he says he'll do what's best for business, which was kind of like his catchphrase at the time.
I'll do what's best for business. Stephanie.
What an impersonation.
From the catwalk with the Undertaker. You see that video? It's from was it Stephanie's place where she's interviewing the Undertaker at the catwalk of Madison Square Garden, and she's wearing the Undertaker's I forget what outfit it was. It had the wings or whatever, and she's like screaming, "Hey, game! Triple H, look at me! Look at my gigantic bosoms that that fostered by our children. Look up here." And then Triple H was like, "Oh, who let the fans in this early?" I sound like Randy Savage.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not a Triple H.
Yeah.
Get him out of here. Oh yeah, get him out of here. Oh yeah. And did you know I did not have a relationship with Stephanie? That's a bad internet rumor. Anyway, but and then she was like, "Oh, it's me, Stephanie," and he was like, "Oh, it's Stephanie," and then that was the end of the bit.
I mean, I don't need to see it now. I've had it, recreated for me in such.
Yeah, don't watch Stephanie's Places. It's going no places on ESPN Plus.
Thanks for the plug there.
Hey Jack, can I have your Sportsnet ID by the way? Because I want to watch the replay of Kipper and Bourne.
Oh my god. Anyway, so back to this. He said he'd do what's best for business, and he gives them the Shield versus the Wyatts Elimination Chamber. And so for the next few Raw and SmackDowns, we get some spooky videos from the Wyatts, not saying why they got the Shield DQ'd, but they're going to take them down at Elimination Chamber. Then we get the Shield promo videos telling the Wyatts that they're going to beat them. And this is Raw and SmackDown. I mean, we discussed this on a few episodes ago around this time, basically just rehashed things over and over again. So we got a load of similar promos and them sort of like coming down and staring each other out between matches. And, the Shield. Too. a lot of what? Sorry?
A lot of DQs too, man. We discussed this chapter and verse too. The booking, the way they do it is just like absolute reruns of matches until the pay-per-view, until they get it right, like trying to pass an SAT, and a lot of DQs too. It's so nauseating and whatever, man. But it is what it is.
Well, was it that November, December of 2013? Like, how many matches did we get between like Punk and various members of the Shield, and then the Shield 3-on-1 on Punk, and it was just like that match just went over and over on Raw and SmackDown every week.
Giant circle jerk of Shield matches with Punker.
Yeah, but and the Shield keep reiterating that they're all on the same page, even though they keep teasing that cracks are forming in the alliance.
Very subtle.
Yes.
I will say that the way this match was set up was, dumb. The fact that, you never really find out why they interfered in that Elimination Chamber qualifier match. But it's just funny that, like, both these groups are so, like, over with the crowd. Like, everyone just kind of ignores that this build kind of sucks and just, like, is really excited for it anyway.
I mean, yeah, that's a hell of a story, isn't it? We don't know why you interfered in our match and we don't care. And that was pretty much it. The Wyatts didn't explain why they did it. I mean, obviously, they could go back to explain it once they started on the road to WrestleMania and you had Bray and Cena, the fact that they'd beaten Cena up. But at the time, there was no thought of that. It was just like, oh, well, we're getting thrown into a feud here, and that was the explanation for it. Yeah, why did they interfere in that match? Yeah, there was no explanation for it.
Yeah, it was definitely no Chris Thornburg type of fighting in these build up to the match.
No. So we on the February 17th Raw, this is the go home Raw for Elimination Chamber, and after a match between Roman Reigns and Mark Henry. Which I think this was Mark Henry giving Roman the big rubby. I think Roman
Of
just
course.
pushed through him and beat him basically.
We
But
like
speaking of,
like we all wanted the big endorsement from the Hall of Pain, the Hall of Expired Pain, Mark Henry.
yeah. The Wyatts come down to face off against Shield in the ring, and this is where the crowd go crazy. This is the clip that gets shown loads, like they're all in the ring together, and the crowds are going crazy. But
That's
I mean,
another
Jack,
thing WWE love to do. They love to get a veteran who was like half past their prime and give the rub to the young upcoming star. And in this case, it's Mark Henry.
Is this the face off where Triple H comes out and he's like, "Don't do it, don't attack them."
yeah, yeah.
Don't do it.
Of course, Triple H has got to get involved for no reason whatsoever. Hasn't
Well,
he?
he
You know what I
says
mean?
something
He's got to
about
get
how
involved,
this
yeah.
is a fight that we can promote.
Yeah. That is business head on for once. Yeah, for once.
And now he looks like Dana
yeah.
White.
So yeah, the crowd goes crazy. I mean, Brandon, what were your thoughts on the bill for this one? We had the iffy thing, but I mean, the crowd seemed to be really, really behind this one. They were getting like big reactions and everything because it was something new, I suppose, at the time, wasn't it?
Right. It was new and different, but I mean, they just had innate chemistry. Like nobody cared about like what was going on to build up this match. People were, like you said, people were so into like these characters and the different skill sets that they built for this type of match. It's mystifying looking back. Like, oh my god, like I couldn't have made it to the freaking pay-per-view with the circle jerk that these guys were on. But back then people didn't give a fuck because they were the only game in town and whatnot. So neither here or there. I've been saying neither here or there a lot today, so forgive me. I apologize. Neither here or there.
That can be our new catchphrase. But yeah, it is true because it is. You know, obviously there was no AEW around this time, and the US Indies were doing pretty well. But yeah, like you said, the WWE was
New
the
Japan
only
was
sort of
on
name.
New Japan was on Ustream pay-per-view for like $60 a show.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah, and you could get the G1 for like $150 or whatever.
Yeah, it was crazy
thing.
prices.
Yeah.
Like a slap shot from Oleg Tverdovsky, like that type of money is good.
Just keep them coming, Brandon, I guess. But yeah, that is, and then I think it was Ustream that kicked New Japan off, and then like was Ustream in the thing anymore? Surely that like upped their numbers, but exponentially.
I think Ustream Ustream did not have a long life. Like it probably. No. I think New Japan maybe got kicked off because like the site shut down. I don't know.
Right. Oh, right. I thought it just booted them off.
Was it
issues with it?
Was it Ustream and was it Flow Slam?
Flow Slam, yeah. No, New Japan was never on Flow Slam. You get?
No, I mean, but like out there at the time, it was like Ustream and.
Oh no, Flow Slam was like 6-7 years later.
Oh, was it? It felt like it was at that time. Okay, fair enough. I remember trying to watch a show on Flow Slam, and it didn't go well.
That was like supposed to be the big thing, weren't it? Flow Slam, they were going to like get all the indie promotions under one roof, kind of like what DAZN does now. They've probably got more indie promotions on DAZN than what fucking Flow Slam had. They were trying to get PWG on there and everything, weren't they? There were a lot of
the
like
main thing was that they had all the Evolve stuff, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So Evolve, what's gonna happen? All right, I'm going on another tangent. So PWG's done basically, right? So like, what's gonna happen to the library and stuff like that?
So it seems. Well, I don't think it'll ever get digitized. So you better hold on to them DVDs and Blu-rays.
Crazy, dude! They can make so much money off of that, dude.
I know. Well, I suppose they'd have to pay someone to digitize a load of footage. So
right, is it a morality thing or like?
I don't know. Perhaps they thought they could make more money off Blu-rays and DVDs. I don't know. We'll have to ask Excalibur and Super Dragon, I guess. Yeah,
they have a cachet of great matches on there. Just like collecting.
I mean, to be fair, if you did really want this stuff, I mean, it's not hard to find any PWG show. Is it really online?
Right, but people are lazy. Like, come on, man. Society's lazy. They want everything right now digitized. Like so I can hit a button and it's right there. Nobody has a DVD player anymore. Come on, dude.
No.
I mean, I still
do
do because I'm old.
Yeah.
But like nobody has a DVD player. I still have like VHS. Look, I have I Come in Peace in my freaking closet. Like I was dude, I got a tape trading story for you, by the way, but I'll tell later.
Yeah. Oh my
Well,
God.
if we get can please remember, please kick me in the head to remember.
Boomer Brandon's coming out now, isn't he? Oh, remember back in my day when when you had physical media. Anyway, so we're on to a
wait. I want to tell him now. We got time to kill. Come
God.
on, we got time to kill. All right, so you know the night the line was crossed, that tape back in the day, it came out, and as Martin leaves the room, to throw up. I saw it online, and I was like, oh, let me try tape trading. So I was like, I'll trade you my first edition I Come in Peace tape for Night the Line was Crossed, ECW. The guy laughed at me. I was like, dude, I ripped this off of HBO. Come on, dude. 11 o'clock at night. I worked hard to like make this tape, and it is worth every bit as much as the Night the Line was crossed. And I demand that we make a trade, or else I'm going to be very mad. And he never responded. So that was my tape trading question.
That was like the Night the Line was crossed. I remember that was like one of the most traded tapes, wasn't it? I think I had like a 7th generation copied tape for that. I mean, the quality was awful, but the wrestling on it was fantastic.
Well, how about this? I'll trade you my I Come in Peace tape for that.
That is long gone. That I think I even taped over it. Long gone, yeah. Anyway, so we're on to Elimination Chamber now. Thanks for that story. Really enlightened. I feel like I know so much more about you now, Brandon.
Thank you,
for
man. Was it a bad trade or was it a bad trade? That was like a movie.
I mean, it was for him because the Night Line was crossed was really sought after, and whatever you taped off HBO wasn't. So, yeah. Anyway, so on to the Elimination Chamber, and we are February 23rd, 2014, Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Target Center. Now, is the Hoosier Dome? Is that in Minneapolis?
It's the Hoosier Dome in Minneapolis? No, that's Indianapolis.
In Indianapolis, right? Anyway, all right. I'm getting my Appolises mixed up there. Right, I apologize.
The Metrodome was in Minneapolis.
Right, got you.
Or as they call it, Murderapolis.
Right, do they? Good to know.
Right.
So, around 14,000 people in attendance here. Atmosphere for this one is amazing, especially for the time when you think, you know, people were like booing Batista at the Rumble and stuff, and people weren't happy with what they're watching. Crowd starts chanting, "This is awesome," before the Wyatts even make their way into the ring, and the match is chaotic with stuff happening all over the shop. We get the big brawl to start, and the Shield clears the ring. After some back and forth, we get the big face-off between Roman and Bray, and the crowd's going crazy for that. Both teams cut the ring in half with the Shield, you know, triple teaming Harper with quick tags in the corner. It's like, you know, this match is like 20 odd minutes long, but like it flies by. And, you know, as much as I think Seth Rollins is a twat now, I mean, he's great in this match. I mean, Harper goes for a top rope German. Seth lands on his feet and then goes for a quick suicide dive to the outside that looks great. And, you know, the crowd is red hot all the way through the match. We get tons more brawling on the outside. We get a suicide dive from Harper even. Ambrose taken out by Brain to the crowd. It leads into Rollins getting double choke slammed through the Spanish announce table from the regular announce table. The ending as the three Wyatts taking Roman apart. Bray goes for the Sister Abigail, but Reigns overpowers him and hits the Samoan drop, and the crowd goes absolutely mental when Reigns powers out of this Sister Abigail. Crowd's going wild. Bray finishes everything off, but Harper takes a spear for Bray, who sneaks in and finally hits the Sister Abigail for the win. And like I said before, I was like, oh, I'm a bit apprehensive watching this one back because I've got such good memories of it. But great match. Not watched this since. Fantastic stuff. Great atmosphere. The dueling chants from the crowd, even though both teams were healed. You didn't see the Shield losing clean all the time. So that was, you know, that was a big thing. You know, definitely worth going back and watching this if you haven't seen it in a long time. Like all 6 played their part. Mox maybe not as much in this one. I mean, I know we are a Jon Moxley podcast, but you know, maybe not as much as the 2 of the Shield members in there. But you know, fantastic stuff.
Wait,
Brandon, what were your thoughts watching this match back?
wait. Did you see the poster for this show?
I did not. Was it Stephanie McMahon?
It's Stephanie McMahon hovering over
Right.
the cage like she's at the Garden with the Undertaker. But it looks like she's saying, you know, how the white girls when they get all white girl wasted, they say gracias at a Mexican restaurant, and they say hello on the way and shit like that. It looks like she's saying gracias like that on top of the Elimination Chamber cage. But yeah, the match was excellent though. But
Thanks for that insight. What were your thoughts, Jack, watching this one, especially if you weren't sort of like really remember watching it at the time?
Well, what's funny is when I saw, you know, Shield versus Wyatt family 20 minutes, my initial thought was like, oh, this might be good, I guess. But then after watching it, it was like, yeah, this was amazing. Like I really enjoyed this match. It was start to finish great. I think one thing I really enjoyed is that they really established early that big fight feel, and one of the ways they did this, which I think was important, was that for the first 10 minutes or so, they weren't even necessarily wrestling like they were going for the finish. They were instead sort of planting that foundation of moves and attacks. And I think what that sort of instills is this idea that like it doesn't take a little bit to put these guys away. Like you need to pile these things on top of each other before you can even start thinking about ending the match. I thought that was really great. I want to, you know, add on to what you said about Seth Rollins being incredible in that match. I had that German superplex spot in my notes as well. When Seth got thrown through the Spanish announce table, his foot got caught in one of the areas where one of the monitors is supposed to sit, and it looked like something where if it went just slightly wrong, he would have had a really bad injury. I thought there was a fun amount of storytelling with the finish. The fact that Ambrose got, you know, he brawled to sort of into the crowd and into the abyss kind of, and that sort of planted the seeds of like everyone else thinking that he sort of betrayed them almost. So I thought that storytelling was nice. Like the finish was done in a way so that you could keep this storyline going instead of it just being a one-off match. But I think it's hard for these tag matches to not follow the exact same WWE formula that a lot of them really fall into, and it's tough for them to sustain a crowd through 20 minutes, and they accomplish both those things really well.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny you say that about you know, obviously they could leave it open for that because it seemed WWE had already sort of like, even though they've got this match set up and they were getting such amazing reactions, they'd already sort of like moved Bray onto other things, because even later on in this show, you know, in the main event, in the actual chamber match itself, we get, you know, Bray and the Wyatts interfere and attack John Cena, you know, causing him to get eliminated by Randy Orton. Because as good as the match is,
God, did you see the show built around this great match? Oh my God, it's the stuff of nightmares, man. The New Age Outlaws beating the Usos. What?
Yeah, it's not good, is it? The rest of the show, yeah.
Oh my God, it's jeez. You can just build the whole show around that match.
I know, and it's on like 3rd or 4th as well, isn't it?
Batista beat Alberto El Patron.
Oh my God.
What's interesting, and maybe it just reflects like how WWE ownership is different these days. Like a match like this would never headline a pay-per-view back then, but like nowadays we have like bloodline tag matches headlining PLEs and stuff like that. Like over title fights.
Oh, this is definitely like headlining if they had that type of build of some show. Like
like you said, this kind of had like a 2-week build. So
yes, like incredible build. I mean, crazy. Like the chemistry that these gentlemen have is like legendary, man. Like, and it's spoiled like on this fucking show, man. Fucking Glacier Orton was the champion.
Well, look at it. I mean, Cena and Orton going at it in the Elimination Chamber. I mean, yeah, but it's what 11 years ago. Yeah, it's still.
Oh my God,
The more things change, the more they say the same. Yeah.
Zeb Coulter and Larry the Axe Hennig both make cameos. Both are on the show permanently.
Wait, I'm seeing that the New Age Outlaws are champions.
Yeah.
Man, the state of the tag division at that time. Huh?
I know. Well, we'll get to the New Age Outlaws in a minute because the Raw after the Chamber, that's when it all starts to get a bit haywire. You're like, wow, they've done this first match. They've got this amazing crowd reaction. It's more over than anything else apart from maybe like Daniel Bryan on the show. I think they've got this white hot feud, between the Shield and the Wyatts. Let's go with that for Mania. But apparently, like doing research for this, and I think we've discussed this on the show before, that the original plan was to break up the Shield and have Roman against Ambrose at Mania 30. And obviously, I imagine Seth was like, no, let's keep this thing going for a bit longer than that because what am I doing? So, hence we get all the teasers of them falling out and then they kind of like run that back a bit and have less of the dissension that we see in some of these matches and they stay for a unit for a bit longer. They'd already decided it was going to be Bray versus Cena at WrestleMania 30. So we're in a weird holding pattern because they're like, oh, well, we want to build this match between Bray and Cena, but this is still hot, so let's carry on with this. So it kind of gets moved to the background, and the Shield turned face in all of it, and it just seems like a bit confusing, a bit of a mess. After that hot match, you'd think they'd want to capitalize on that and maybe get another one out of it at the biggest stage of all at WrestleMania 30. But now we end up rushing through two more matches on Raw and main event of all shows. Yeah, I know, which is wild.
Well,
I know.
What's funny is like when I was watching these matches, because I mean the history of things gets mixed up in my mind, but I was watching these matches and they do all that stuff about like dissension within the group. So I was thinking like, oh, this has to be like right around the corner from when they split. And then I search it up on my phone and it's like, oh, this is nowhere near when they break up.
It's like
the whole Evolution feud. Yeah, it's like almost to the summer when they actually break up.
So weird.
Yeah, and why would you actually get a WrestleMania 30, Brandon? We actually get a WrestleMania.
I'm sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
Actually, at WrestleMania 30, we get these guys against the New Age Outlaws and Kane.
Jesus Christ.
That's some WWE Universe booking.
Why is Kane in the year of that our Lord getting booked in high level matches like this? Come on, man.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's
He's
ridiculous.
Just a couple years fresh off his blood feud with Zack Ryder at that point.
Yeah. That classic, that all timer, that, isn't it? Yeah. But the two matches they do have are worth talking about because match number 2 does come on Raw on March the 3rd, and this is only 8 days after Elimination Chamber. And it's really notable because this is the first Chicago Raw after CM Punk obviously walked out of the company after Royal Rumble. So this is when, if you remember, they teased Punk's music at the start of the show and swerved the crowd and came back with Heyman. And then this was obviously around the time when crowds started hijacking shows. So I guess they probably thought, oh, we want to fuck about and do this with playing Punk's music and having Heyman out there. So they probably thought they'd run this match back, to appease the fans after teasing Punk. So, and it worked because the crowd were well into this one as well, because they do a lot of the similar spots as they did in the Chamber match. We get they recreate the Suicide German with Seth landing on his feet from the first match. It still looks fantastic. I can see why they wanted to run that one back. And but as a match, like, it's not quite hits the levels of the Elimination Chamber match, but still some good stuff in here. And obviously we get a lot of the a lot of them cutting the ring in half. Quick tags from the Shield, and then and then the Wyatts taking down Mox for quite a long time. We even in this one get Mox slapping on a figure 4 of all things, which I thought was kind of random for a match like this where there's a lot of brawling and a lot of sort of like
showing that he is a technical wrestler.
Yeah, he's a technical wizard, man. That's for sure. Yeah. We even get Harper doing the suicide dive again on Reigns, Ambrose jumps on Harper on the floor, but Bray posts Ambrose, puts him in the ring for the Sister Abigail. As well, I suppose the big thing is from this one is that Rollins actually walks out on the team because he feels like, he even says, Reigns is like, why are you walking out us? And he's like, I'm the glue that keeps his team together. You guys are just messing about all the time, and I'm the one who's got to keep it on. So it ends up being sort of like a 3-on-2 thing. And then we see Bray Wyatt beating Ambrose with the Sister Abigail, losing the second match as Rollins is looking on from the stage. So they were really trying to get over the fact that the Shield, weren't on the same page, but still a good match, I thought here, Jack, despite not hitting quite the levels that the Elimination Chamber match did.
This felt like if you took that Elimination Chamber match and just like cut it in half, like it was supercharged from the start. They worked a much faster pace from the start just because they didn't have that time to slowly kind of build it up. I thought that dive you mentioned with Roman and Rowan was crazy. They went like flying over the like they didn't go through the announce table. They went like flying over.
Yeah, it looked great, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they got murdered by that. I really enjoyed just how quicker this match was. Of course, like you said, it was very similar to the pay-per-view match. But when a match like that is so good, I don't mind, sort of repackaging a lot of that stuff. I think the only thing I really kind of didn't like as much about this match was I thought the whole Seth walking away thing was kind of hokey a little. Like I thought the fact that he was there, the fact that he like mid-match had this light bulb in his head, like, oh, actually I'm the glue that sticks this group together. I'm gonna leave. And the fact that he watched the match on the stage for like 5 minutes. Like, he walks away, and then a few minutes later they mention something about how he's still there, and I'm like, what? He's still standing there? I thought he just at one point I just assumed he went to the back, but he was standing there for like the match kept going for a while after he left.
Yeah, because it was a frustration, wasn't it? Because he was getting beat down by the Wyatts, and then when he went to go and get the hot tag, they were distracted doing something else on the floor, and I think that's where the frustration was to come from there. Yeah, and he kind of looked like really frustrated that they lost when the camera cuts to him, and it's like, well,
yeah, it's like, dude,
that's your fault. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than anything. Brandon, what were your thoughts on this match, mate?
It was interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like the way they once again WWE booking, like when a dissenting tag team is going on and the guy leaves and letting the other guy get beaten up and beaten up and beaten up, beaten up and beaten up, and then ultimately falls to the opposition. Like it's not my style, but like why do they want to break them up so quick? Like these guys were a cash cow. Like it boggles my mind, dude. Like come on, dude, you got something here. Like it's like when they tried to break up the New Day, and then people were like, "Nah, fuck that, man." Like these guys are still popping. Like it mystifies me, like how we got to have an angle of a tag team that's like raking in the dough for the company. We gotta break them up quick.
Well, that's the thing. I've looked at interviews, obviously, and they have talked about like WWE wanting to break them up and them going back and saying, "No, let's keep it going," sort of thing. But there's been none of the interviews have said like why WWE wanted to break them up, because they had only been sort of like together for a year, and there was plenty more stuff on the table. But I suppose who knows what was going through sort of like Vince's mind around that time. So yeah,
it's no MTS Center.
No,
it's called something else now.
Tavern United MTS Center.
What I think is interesting just about the how you said that it was reported about the breakup was going to be like Ambrose versus, do you say Roman at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
I just think that like the butterfly effect of that is interesting, where it's like if that had happened, then they wouldn't be able to reference the split on TV nowadays like they do to death with Seth and Roman, because they talk about the chair shot and everything. And it's convenient that they do that, because you don't really need Moxley Ambrose there to put that in the storyline. But if they did a split that was so heavily dependent on Ambrose, you wouldn't be able to do that now with him in AEW.
Oh yeah, that's a great point, actually. Yeah, because they do constantly bring it up, don't they, and try and recreate it and stuff like that. Yeah, it's that's an interesting.
That would just be off, like all that long-term stuff would just be off the table if they went that way.
Yeah. One more thing too. It's raining in South Portage. Get a raincoat for the big game tonight, right, Jack?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, Jack. You're not excited for the game tonight? Come on, man.
The
Wait,
Leafs
Stars and Jets play tonight, right? Or tomorrow?
tomorrow, bro. Come on.
Okay,
They played last night.
Oh, Toronto
Big
plays
win.
tonight.
Yeah, Toronto plays tonight.
So they'll win and they'll lose in disappointing fashion in Game 7, right? They'll get blown out in Game 7 at home, right?
Chris in the chat saying, "Come on, Jack. I'm the one who got the right games on the right days. You should be going after Brandon here." Yeah, okay, I appreciate
yeah, Chris.
it. Never
Yeah,
mind.
Leone.
All good.
No, I agree with you, Jack. Yeah.
Shout out to Leone in his fight with the disease that he's fighting a fight, man. Shout out Leone.
Anyway, so we get the match number 3, which is on main event.
On main event.
8th of April. Yep, main event. You heard that right. 8th of April 2014. I think because the network had just started around this time and they just launched it, they were trying to give main event a bit of a bump, get people more interested in it. I mean, that's just my thoughts. That's the only reason I can think that they would have this, third match of theirs on main event because
main event. Come on,
yeah.
man. What the fuck, dude? Where were they even showing main event at?
This was on the network.
On the network?
The network, yeah. I think they were trying to give the network a bit of a bump, so they were like, "Oh, main event's a show that everyone should be watching because we've got, the Shield against the Wyatts on here."
What I was trying to figure out when I was watching this was like, what point in the main event's sort of lifetime was this match at? Because when they first launched it and it was on some channel, which I don't remember, they really like tried to pitch it as this like big deal, like third show. And they really pushed hard with it. And then they kind of gave up with it a little. And then, like you said, I think because it got moved to the network, they tried making it like a bigger deal again. And yeah, this correct me if I'm wrong, like this feud came like right when the network came out because that Chamber show was on pay-per-view, but they're talking about the network on these other matches.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Because the network had literally just launched, hadn't they? I think they had Terry Hulk Hogan on the episode of Raw after the Chamber to try and like bump up the numbers for the network and announce that it was coming or whatever. Yeah, I think when I was skipping through the shows and stuff, I think I'd noticed something like that. But yeah, I mean, but if they were trying to get the main event like going, I mean, you've got Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips on fucking commentary. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, they make like King and Cole sound like, the best commentary team ever when you watch those first 2 matches and then this one with bloody Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips.
There was one spot where Seth Rollins came off like the top with that flying knee he does, and it got called as a flying curb stomp. And I was watching and I went, no.
Man,
like out loud, I was talking to the TV.
Man, Byron Saxton, he must be an incredible human being, but man, how is this guy still gainfully employed? Respect. I mean, hey, you got a job and you do it right, whatever you do, and you keep it and you maintain it. More power to you. I salute you, but man, don't get him near a mic again, man. He's not it, bro. He's not it. Like who was the other guy back in the day on WWE? He used to wrestle. He was an announcer. Matt Striker. He might be just as bad as Matt Striker. Matt Striker's horrible too.
Yeah, they've had a lot of bad announcers over the years, haven't they?
Who was the Irish guy that did announcing at the current time, and now he does MLS soccer. I forget his name. He looked like the Joker. What was his name?
I can't remember. I've got no idea who you're on about.
Oh man, he was awful when he was calling Raw, and then they moved him to an announcer, and then they ultimately
an Irish guy calling Raw.
Yeah, I forget it. He was an Irish.
I don't remember that at all.
Hold up, I it's gonna kill me. Irish announcer, Raw.
I think you've imagined this.
Soccer.
Chat saying Kevin Patrick?
Kevin Egan was his name.
Kevin
He worked on RTE Ireland.
Right.
He was Kevin Patrick.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, Kevin Patrick. Well done, Matty B. Thank you for that.
Awful announcer.
Yeah, I don't remember
He looked like the Joker, though. he looked like the Joker, dude. Like seriously, like that
I
grin.
don't see that at all.
I disagree, sir. Like the current Joker, on the Batman TV. What was the show on Fox? It was when Batman was little. The guy that was in Shameless, he played the Joker or whatever his name was. Anywho, he looked just like him.
Good for him. But so we're in the Cajun Dome in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Oh, the home of Joe.
Joe?
Yeah, he's in the chat. He's from Louisiana, apparently. The home
shout
of
out Joe.
the home of Steven Seagal Lawman too. Great show. Now he's now he's a fat, bloated Russian separatist to Vladimir, who was at Victory Day. Oh my God, this guy's gut. This guy, we call it a boiler. That his gut, man. Oh my God. Joe, you're wrong. That Steven Seagal Lawman, incredible show. Steven Seagal had a southern accent, and he was playing blues music at a supper club, and he was a freaking sheriff. Dude, that show rocked. It's hilarity.
Well, anyway, Joe's not from Lafayette, Louisiana. He's from Ohio. So
He's a liar. Joe's a liar.
So, yeah, a bit different. So, but back onto this match, because it has a different vibe to the other two matches. I mean, the Shield have already shifted their focus now to the Reformed Evolution, coming out of Mania 30. And they've also put the dissension stuff on the back burner now. So, they're a strong unit here going out against Triple H and friends. So, not as intense as the last two matches, and the crowd are nowhere near as up for it. I think they kind of realized that, there was, the stakes weren't as high as the last two matches, and both teams had sort of moved on. And also, I think like Bray had lost a bit of his luster after, being fed to Cena over Mania. I don't think he ever quite recovered from that big loss to Cena at Mania, but still some decent stuff here.
Was he still wearing the Tommy Bahama shirt, or did he go to the apron like he was going to grill him with Jay? Like he was going to be a.
No, I think he mixed the two up, didn't he? So sometimes he wore the apron, sometimes he wore the shirt. I don't think there was ever an exclusive time where he moved in that. Yeah.
Well, he looked like he was going to do an episode of Barbecue Pitmasters with that apron.
He did indeed. What did you think of this third match, though, Brandon?
I mean, the stakes were not as high because we were on main event, but I mean, I guess they're trying to, like you said, they're trying to pimp out the network and make people watch. It's like akin to like Fight Pass when it first came out, and let's put Conor McGregor on there. Waste of pay-per-view buy, but I mean, like I said, these guys have chemistry and they can wrestle on the streets, and it'll be a decent outcome. So I thought it was solid all the way around. I give it a 2 thumbs up on the Brandon scale. I enjoyed it for being in on main event. I'm glad they didn't do a speed match. Speed wasn't involved. It wasn't even on the air. Can you imagine that, man?
I don't think speed was even a thought at that time, was it?
Well, Triple H, I'm sure
205 live.
Triple H, I'm sure had many thoughts, but the old man, NXT Europe is still a thing in the vestiges of his mind. But that's neither here or there.
What about
and the actor's name was Cameron Monaghan. He was the Joker in Gotham. Go ahead, continue.
Well, I think something that really took some momentum away from this match was not only that it was on main event, obviously, but also the fact that this was kind of disconnected from those first two matches. I mean, we had the Chamber one, and then I think you said the next one happened like a week after.
Yeah.
Where this one came after Mania, so people had stopped even associating the Wyatt family with that feud because Bray became attached to Cena and all that. So there was less stakes around this one. It was just kind of a match. But I enjoyed this match. I enjoyed the fact that it got a decent amount of time. Like I remember near the end of the match, I just kind of remember thinking like, you don't really see TV matches get this kind of length to them, especially if it's not like a main event type, like main event as in like the main event of a show, not main event the show. I really enjoyed the work in this match of, a big focus of it being Ambrose being isolated in one of the corners, and the fact that, I feel like we get so used to that formula of people being isolated for like 1 or 2 minutes and then they mount the comeback or whatever. Ambrose was in there for like a decent chunk of the match and he was really getting beat up and they really made you, wait a long time for that eventual hot tag out. And I actually really enjoyed that, just a change in the match. And this was not anywhere near the Elimination Chamber match. And I think the fact that I enjoyed the quickness and the difference that the Raw match was like. So this ranks, third out of the 3 of them for me. But that's not to say I didn't like it. I mean, those other 2 ones I enjoyed so much that this one's still good. And like it's below those, but it's not bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's certainly a lot better than sort of like a lot of stuff we were getting, especially around the time. It seems they were incapable of having a bad match.
It goes back to that chemistry that Brandon was talking about.
Yeah, it was. Wow, Brandon made a good point for once.
Wow, man.
Wait, that one out.
Whoa. Hey, yo, screen cap that, man. Brandon made a fucking point. Whoa!
Yeah, it's like I said, the chemistry, and I don't think they were, because they even had a 4th match in May, but I didn't think that was really worth going over on Raw in May 2014 because the Shield were deep into that feud with Evolution and the Wyatts, and all teams had moved on. I think it was kind of more to move that storyline along. Triple H was like, "Oh, you think you can take Evolution on? Well, I'm going to send the Wyatts out to sort of like, do a number on you, and then we'll pick up the pieces after that sort of thing." So it was more to do with moving on that story. Nothing really noteworthy other than sort of like a throwaway TV match, I thought. But I mean, they did continue to interact with each other, in different guises over the years, so obviously singles matches. And then I think we had Roman and Ambrose against, Bray and one of the other Wyatts, but nothing really captured that crowd reaction, except, etc., like their initial meeting did. And I do feel like, for me personally, I mean, obviously we don't want them. I was complaining earlier about how many times we saw Punk against a member of the Shield, or Punk in a 3-on-1 against the Shield, all the times on Raw and SmackDown. But I feel like, as far as the main story goes, just 3 matches. They definitely for me should have had another big one at WrestleMania, and perhaps skip the one that they had on Raw. I feel like that was a real big missed opportunity. What did you think, Brandon? Do you think that it was fine that it seemed to be so quick, or they could have, kept it going on a bit longer than they did?
Oh, this could have gone till Mania. I mean, like, I don't know what the headspace of Vince is thinking with tag wrestling or trios wrestling with this feud. Like, I mean, you're already wanting to breaking them up already, like we talked about earlier. Like, it is absolutely. I mean, it's not egregious, but it's definitely a misstep. Like, I think they left money on the table, like with this feud, and like the faction warfare they could have gotten out of this crew. Like it should have been longer than what it where it ultimately went to. But did I make another point, or am I the Andrew Ladd of podcasters, Jack?
Whoever that is. But what about you, Jack? Do you feel like this was fine as it was, or do you think they could have got some more juice out of this, or compared to everything else they were doing at the time, it was good that they have something that was so, short and sharp?
I think what's frustrating when you think about this whole arc in total is that, like, you can almost see from the first match to the second to the third, WWE losing interest as they're booking this, and it goes from this, match that gets a lot of time on a pay-per-view and gets a really big focus, to a match that's just used as a crutch to keep TV going, to just a match that's just on their 3rd tier TV show, or maybe 4th tier if NXT is higher. So, it's frustrating that it goes that way. And it's even more frustrating when the fact that, like, so many rivalries go so long and aren't well received. But this is a rivalry that didn't go so long, but from the start was really well received, even when the writing was bad before the first match, when the writing was just formulaic and boring. The crowd was eating it up. So they should have taken that as a sign of hey, we should figure out something so we can keep this going in a meaningful way.
Yeah, exactly. I think it worked despite the booking and the writing. As we noted earlier, it was a really lazy way of getting them entangled with each other.
I feel like that's just such a, like, 2000s, 2010s Vince-ism that there's so many matches where you talk about the entire build and it's like, yeah, the build was great, but like, or no, the match was great, but the build was just like terrible. Like when I did that Cena one talking about a 2009 championship reign on Poison Rana a month or so ago, it was like you could either have a good match or a good build, but you can never have both. It's just something about that era just never all clicked.
Yeah, it's completely right. It just, well, and obviously around that same time we had all the Daniel Bryan stuff. That's a whole other rabbit hole you could go down. How the crowd were wanting that and they didn't want to give it him, and it just seems like it seems to be a bit of a case for this one as well. That they're like, oh no, you're gonna have what we want. We want it to be Bray against Cena rather than giving you the Shield against the Wyatts again. What do you think, Brandon? Do you think? Do you think that maybe sort of like that took some sheen off Bray Wyatt having to go into that match with Cena and then just be fed to him as the monster of the week sort of thing?
100%, man. Like I mean, I guess like Cena had that reputation of like killing people's pushes or whatever. I don't know if it's true or not. It's just more speculation on my end. But yeah, man. Like Bray was like bad. He was an ultimate monster, and like after that match, the wins were taken out of his sails basically, and now he's just downgraded to the mid card scene or whatever. No, well, upper mid card scene, right? Would you say?
If you're working main event matches,
yeah,
you're the mid card.
Yeah, you're definitely in the mid card. But you know what? There in that era, there's only one superstar and close to mid superstar, and everybody else is like nobody's bigger than the company. Like that's what Vince's MO is. Like you have one guy, John Cena was the North Star, and everybody else is in a hodgepodge of like whatever. Like you can't advance. Like I get they were still doing WWE movies and stuff like that, but like you wouldn't let none of these guys could do outside bookings and stuff like that. Like it's just a mishigash of guys in the same situation besides John Cena.
This was very near the end of WWE movies.
Okay, so you're not getting a booking on the Marine 25 and Vince's standing. So yeah,
no. But it had a bit of resurgence, didn't it? Like WWE films, because we had Becky Lynch in like the Recruit Part 5 or whatever. I can't. And then Shawn Michaels, went he in like a country and western film or something like that? Was that like they still producing movies to this day? I can't remember. I know we talked about the Ambrose film, but yeah, there was Becky Lynch was in a film at some point. I'm sure that had something to do with like WWE or whatever at some point.
Because the resurrection of Gavin Stone was the Shawn Michaels movie.
there was a point in time where they were pumping out like 4 movies a year. Like they had a crazy output.
Shawn Michaels was in the Marine 6, Close Quarters. Let's fucking go. Come on.
That's the one with Becky Lynch in, I think.
Yes. She plays the Femme Fatale assassin.
Because they actually produced some stuff that was supposedly not bad. They had the Call film with like Halle Berry and Abigail Breslin that did decent at the box office and stuff, and a few other things, didn't they?
I love looking at the movie poster for the Marine 6, and Shawn Michaels like he's not looking like where he's supposed to. Like his eyes are hard in close quarters.
There's so many like bad WWE films, isn't there?
Come on, Martin. You would watch the Marine 6.
I feel like that could be a good like spin-off podcast, just watching WWE Studios movies.
That is Jack. That is Brandon's dream. That is like literally his. Yeah,
I would totally
encourage him.
I would totally pitch that to the powers that be, but I don't know. I think Martin's kind of busy with life and stuff like that. I don't want to suffer him through.
That's a good excuse to avoid a lot of WWE Studios movies. I'm just busy.
Not me. I'm a torture soul. Like I remember when we reviewed when when Jon Moxley was on Total Divas, and like we were only supposed to watch a couple episodes. I watched that whole season.
It's a guilty pleasure, man.
You absolute maniac. He's only in about 3 episodes.
Yeah, but it's so addictive. Like once it's over, you just keep going, man.
When I was in high school, I would just put the WWE Network 24/7 feed on like my TV or whatever, and they for some reason almost never put wrestling on the feed, and almost always had like Total Divas marathons. And I think I've seen like every single episode of that show. It's fire.
It was because it was popular with like non-fans as well. I used to remember my brother's wife would say, "I was watching E and I was watching," so she knew all about like Daniel Bryan and everything, but she'd never watched wrestling in her entire life.
It is funny that Total Divas like ended up having like actually a big impact on WWE.
It's a shame what they've done to E now. All they show is like nonstop Saved by the Bell episodes.
That sounds better than whatever it was doing before. For someone like me, anyway. Oh my god, I'm looking through these WWE films now. Armed Response with Seth Rollins. That sounds and Wesley Snipes.
Are you guys gonna do an episode reviewing 12 Rounds 3 Lockdown featuring Dean Ambrose?
Oh, we've already done that, mate. We've done that one. That classic.
Seriously?
Great movie.
One of the funniest deaths I've ever seen in a film. It was brilliant.
Incredible.
You should go back and listen to it. Yeah,
He dies?
Stop laughing. Oh no, Dean doesn't die.
Okay.
Just someone else gets killed in it. Yeah, it's absolutely terrible.
I was like underestimating when they said they did like 8 movies a year. Like this is crazy.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah,
they were on a freaking heater of just doing like straight to DVD freaking movies. Like it when that hodgepodge industry was like the end before everything went straight to video on demand. Like
in 2017, they did 9 movies. One of them is called Killing Hasselhoff with the Iron Sheik and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that's it. They resurrected the Jetsons and did an animated one of that. The resurrection
Marine 5 has
Stone,
Curtis Axel in it.
Oh my god!
Like instead of sitting and catering, wouldn't you rather be on a set for a WWE film? I would. Have you seen WWE catering in the 2014s? Come on, man.
No, I haven't. Why? What were they having?
Like freaking salads and like finger sandwiches. Come on, dude.
So what is a good catering layout for you, Brandon? Is that sandwiches and salads not good enough for you?
No, man. Give me an English breakfast.
You're not gonna get that in catering. You go dry and horrible.
They're not gonna. It's not like a morning breakfast at a hotel where you can like go up to someone and ask for like a pancakes on the spot or an omelet or something.
Yeah. Oh, well, Brandon had bark at sandwiches, so don't ever invite him round to your house, Jack. And you expect a fucking full spread like a king.
Come on, man. WWE can't go to Craig's, and I mean, what's that? Greg's. It's Greg's, right?
Greg's, yeah. I don't think you can't get Greg's in America, so yeah.
Well, what if they're doing a road trip in England? They can go to Greg's, right? Get catered for there, right?
Yeah. I don't think Greg's is very good for gym food. I don't think you can eat a sausage roll and then go and like lift weights. Sorry, Jack. What were you going to say?
Yeah. Speaking of some of the crazy runs on here, 2013 had 3 movies, and the stars in each one are Wade Barrett, David Otunga, and Brodus Clay.
Oh my god. But then you look at the posters and they've actually got like other people in as well, and I think some of them they say what WWE people are in it, but they might only be in it for 5 minutes or whatever. But Brandon,
have you ever heard of Terrence Maynard or Louisa Conley Burnham?
Never. No idea that you.
The Resurrection of Gavin Stone accomplices.
Right. Okay. Is that a relative of Jesse Stone, that guy Tom Selleck plays all the time? Might be a spin-off of that. Anyway, back to the Shield against the Wyatts. So you've sort of like come to the end of the feud now, talked a bit about like them burning through it and stuff. Jack, do you think they got the most out of the trios here? Because obviously the Shield have broken up a couple of months on from this, and then obviously we had them coming back together, and we had the feud between Dean and Seth, and then obviously Roman got pushed to the moon, and the rest of the say is history. Do you think they got the most out of the the trios as a whole, the Shield and the Wyatts?
I don't know.
So
I
it's
mean,
a tough one.
I think that what's tough with the Wyatts isn't that they had too short of a run together, but that so many of the moments together weren't perfect or weren't as good as they could have been. You know what I mean? Like once the end of the Wyatts kind of came, it wasn't like, oh well, if there was just a little more time of these three guys together, for example, it would have been great. It was just more like so many of these things they didn't really work that perfectly. The Shield, I mean, I'm pretty happy with how they went, especially when you consider the fact that the WWE wanted to split them even earlier than when they split. So, it's I think I'm when I think back on that, I don't think about it as like a what could have been if they were together longer.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. And I think as much as they probably shouldn't have split them up earlier, I think there was only so much juice and how many other trios matches because they have had and stuff like that. So I suppose.
And there's nothing worse than someone overstaying their welcome. You know what I mean? Like that is so much more painful than something being cut short, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think as much as I think they could have got some more juice out of this feud, I think, considering all the stuff we mentioned before about how they do stuff to death, I think it's good that we, going back and watching this now, and it is as good as I remember it from the time, and so I suppose that's the main thing there. Brandon, any final thoughts from you on this Shield and Wyatt's feud?
First off, great selection this week. I enjoyed all the matches. Yeah, man, they were fun for what they were at the time, and doing trio stuff is not the WWE's bag at that time. I mean, like if this were on AEW, I mean, they would have a co-main for the stadium in Texas. All in, is that all in or all out or whatever? But
they'd be doing a best of 7 on TV with this.
Oh, jeez, the potential that was had and was wasted. I mean, the juice was worth. They had more juice to squeeze out of that rag with this faction. It's a shame that we didn't get it. I mean, they didn't really overstay their welcome either, like Jack said either. So it is what it is, but it was fun while it lasted.
But definitely, if people haven't watched it in a while, definitely go back and check that Elimination Chamber match out, and definitely, perhaps the Raw one as well. I'd definitely sort of recommend to go and watch those.
I would recommend. It all depends on how much time you have. If you have 20 minutes, 25 minutes, check the Elimination Chamber one out. If you just have 10 minutes, check the Raw one out.
Yeah, definitely. And they're all on YouTube for free as well, officially on the WWE channel as well. You've just got to, unless you've got YouTube Premium, you get an advert every 10 seconds.
I just realized. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm a cheapskate, man. I would never go to YouTube Premium, dude. Never.
I just realized that we never talked about the promos after the main event match. Did you guys catch this?
Oh no, I missed the promos. No, why? What happened?
They were interviewed in the ring by Renee after the match, and the promos were carried by Seth and Roman because every time Dean started talking, because of how much he was beaten up in the match, he just couldn't stop coughing and choking while trying to talk. So he would just motion someone else to talk for him.
Oh, that's interesting. That because he was always seen as like the main mouthpiece of the group, weren't he? He was seen as like the main talker and the one.
There were 2 times where he came to the mic and he was just I can't. It was actually
really. I'm annoyed I missed that one. Now I'll have to go. I can check that out. And yeah, because he was always seen as like the main talker of the group, and it certainly wasn't Roman at the time. God, he wasn't as good as he is on the mic now. Yeah, he wasn't good when Roman did a promo back then.
What a worker, man! And this was the era where Vince didn't want his guys to sell either, injuries and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's incredible.
Restoring
perhaps
the feeling.
This was around the time he was trying to chat Renee up, so perhaps he was lost the words, seeing her in there. Who knows?
He had to feel her out, especially her interviewing skills. Yes.
Yeah.
My man.
So that was it. Shield and Wyatts, enjoyed that one a lot. That was definitely sort of like up there in some of the best stuff in sort of Moxley's career. But before we get out of here, obviously there's a variety of things we need to go through. Tons of stuff going on at Poison Rana, as always. The Sunday shows, as usual, with Davey and Braden. They've now re-uploaded Sabu's best match ever, because obviously we had the sad passing of Sabu, and the lads had done a best match ever, I think, a couple of months ago. Obviously, sad news, Shot in the Dark's ending, but what up, Doe? I'm sure we'll keep going on strong. Patreon, only $5 a month. Tons of great shows on there. Head over to poisonrunner.ca for everything. Call the merch, show Patreon. And also, if you're watching on this YouTube, give the lads a subscribe. I'm sure they'll really appreciate it. Jack, where can people sort of like find out more from you and read your stuff and everything that you're up to?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you so much, mate. I appreciate it.
No problem. I always love doing the stuff like this where I get to go and, see stuff in the past and sort of see where everything plays out after that and beforehand. And it's just a fun experience. And so I appreciate the invite. But yeah, if you guys want to check out more of my work, I do news writing for Post Wrestling, postwrestling.com. I do a MMA newsletter up to 6 days a week, 100% free, knockdownnews.substack.com. And if you want to follow me on Twitter or Blue Sky, my name right there, if you're watching the video version, Jack Wannan, just give me a follow, JackWannnan. I post updates on there and stuff like that. And yeah, that's all I got.
Excellent. Yeah, and definitely go and check Jack's stuff out. Obviously, a lot more professional than we are on this podcast. So all good stuff there. Brandon,
Yes.
Anything from you?
Jack is the Carl Klingberg of podcasters and newsletters.
Who's that?
All right, so I've been naming a lot of Winnipeg Jets hockey players, and Jack is a big fan of the Jets. He's from there, born, bred. He will die there.
And I just want to make it known that you learned I was from there 1 hour ago.
I did. I thought you were from Toronto, so respect. I thought every Canadian came from the womb in Toronto, but respect. Jack, I want to play a little game with you.
Oh no!
And F, Marry, Kill game.
I'm not playing that, man.
I'm gonna give you 3 names, and you have to pick. You have to pick them in order. Teemu Solani, Oleg Tverdovsky, and TJ Gagliardi.
I just saw you look down as if you're looking at the roster right now.
Yeah,
I am looking at an all-time roster of Winnipeg Jets.
So no, Jack,
So
you don't have to play that game if you don't want to.
Or Blake.
There you go. Well said.
All right, but it's all seriousness, Jack. Great to have you. It's always good to be an asset, not a liability, and you truly are an asset to Post Wrestling. And I salute your coverage. I salute your MMA coverage. I was at the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix where Fedor lost to Bigfoot Silva, and it felt like it was at the Izod Center, and that's where I met Luke Thomas. I shook his hand. My hand disappeared. And the rumors are true. He does have giant rapist hands. But but he was very nice. And yes, when Fedor lost that match, it felt like the movie Eastern Promises. Like I was surrounded by a bunch of Russians, and I thought I was going to be kidnapped into a gulag because their favorite fighter lost. But that's neither here or there. Also, I saw Henzo and Hollister Gracie were fighting on the roof of my on the hood of my car. They were rolling around.
I will say my favorite Jet is Dustin Bufflin. I have a Dustin Bufflin jersey.
Oh, great! He's now a fisherman in Minnesota.
Yeah. He's has a long history of boats, I think.
Oh yeah, he loves the DUI on a boat.
Shout out to Winnipeg Jets. Anyway,
Jack,
thank you, Brandon. We don't need to go through your full history of every MMA fight you've ever seen.
I'll be serious. Jack, great to have you. I'm glad you were here. It was a pleasure to talk to you, interact with you. Martin feels the same way. Thank you for coming to our home.
Thank you, Jack. Much appreciated, mate. All the best with everything. Right. So that's it for us, and it will be our final episode next month. Final ever episode. So join us for that.
Wait.
Join us for that. Hopefully we'll get the Birdman back on for that one. We'll see.
Wait, I'm getting fired?
Yes. So thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone. Thanks Jack again for coming on. Thank you for everyone for tuning in or if you're listening on the podcast. And we will catch you for the last time next month. See you later then.
Oh, wait!